Yankuba Toure sentenced to death by hanging for killing former finance minister. 86 new COVID-19 cases recorded as third wave hits Gambia. Majority Leader asks for protection of rural communities from hippopotamus. This and more coming on Gambia 24. Hello, good evening. You're watching Gambia 24 News with me, Mariama Cham, and thanks for joining us. Now, Yankuba Toure, a former junta member of the AFPRC government, has been found guilty for the murder of Usman Cissé, a former finance minister under the Jammeh-led government, as Justice Ibrahima Jaiteh of the High Court ruled. This came following almost a 2-year trial and hearing of testimonies and evidence presented by both the state and defense counsels. The particulars of offense stated that Yankuba Toure caused the death of former finance minister Usman Cissé by hitting him with a pestle-like object on his head in 1995 in Kololi. Guilty as charged, Justice Ibrahima Jaiteh of the High Court found Yankuba Toure guilty of the murder of Usman Cissé and sentenced to death by hanging. Here is an excerpt of the verdict by Justice Ibrahima Jaiteh.
Having found the convict guilty of murder, the murder of Usman Cissé in cold blood, and having considered that this court does not have any discretion under Section 188 of the Criminal Code, the convict Yankuba Toure is hereby sentenced to death. And pursuant to Section 252 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the said sentence of death shall be by hanging.
Now, following months of decline in the number of coronavirus cases in the Gambia, new infection cases are on the rise as the third wave hits the country. The latest figure from the Ministry of Health appeared to show that the country has recorded 86 new confirmed cases in 2 days. This is a false in this report.
As nations are conducting rapid vaccination programs, the number of coronavirus cases are on the decline globally. But with recent achievements, some countries are being hit with the third wave of the pandemic. The Gambia is one of them. Despite launching of nationwide vaccinations, cases are skyrocketing in recent weeks, with 86 fresh cases recorded between 11 and 12 July. The total number of confirmed cases in the country now stands at 6,414 and 185 deaths since the confirmation of the first case in March 2020. According to the latest situational report from the Ministry of Health, 5,900 people have recovered from the virus, with over 300 active cases. However, cases in many countries are surging and the shortage of the AstraZeneca vaccine is becoming an issue. As a result, many are scared to receive any vaccine dose apart from AstraZeneca. In the Gambia, over 31,000 people have received their jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine, while little over 12,300 are fully vaccinated. With a population of 2.3 million people, the Gambia has received 36,000 doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine under the COVAX program. Authorities in 221 countries and territories have reported about 187.9 million COVID-19 cases and 4.1 million deaths since China reported its first case in December 2019. As the pandemic has spread across the globe, the virus has left a trail of deaths in its wake. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
Now, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission TRRC on Tuesday awarded its major partners for supporting the mandate of the Commission for the past 3 years. Institutions such as the United Nations, the International Center for Transitional Justice, and the Catholic Relief Service were handed their certificates of appreciation on Tuesday. Fatmata Kasim attended the event and she files in this report.
In December 2017, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission was established with the mandate to investigate and produce a historical record of the nature, causes, and intent of violation of human rights under the rule of former President Jammeh. The commission was staffed to pave the way for reparation and reconciliation engagements on the basis of the Never Again slogan. Barely a month after the completion of the public hearing and few days to the much-anticipated delivery of its recommendations, the TRRC decided to award major partners for their support and commitment to the mandate of the Commission. Deputy Chairperson of the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, Adelaide Sose, used this opportunity to define the role of the TRRC partners.
You walked the talk with us. You felt our pain, and you accompanied us when we were down, when we needed resources, when we needed technical advice, when we just needed a word of comfort. The individual staff members were always there to guide, to support, and to just be there for us. And for that, we are extremely grateful. The TRRC, as it closes, would want not only your institutions, but the Gambia and the world at large to know that we value the help that you give, we appreciate it, and we acknowledge it.
Director of Administration and Human Resources, Hadi Jallo, said the group identified for the award have lived the test of time with exceptional support to the TRRC.
We have selected 5 major donors, and the underlying word being major donors. Because if we want to say we're going to give awards to every single person that has helped the TRRC in one way or another, then I guess we'll be here the whole day. But we have chosen 5 major donors, and we want the whole world to know what they have done and contributed to the success of the TRRC. Without these 5 donors, it would have been very difficult for us to actually complete our mandate. And I will start with the UN system. The UN system has been with us from the get-go. They basically, as soon as the TRRC Act came, they actually came and said, you know what, let us work with you guys. And they have started from the beginning, and they're actually still working with us.
The UN resident coordinator, Sarafine Wakana, expressed happiness in welcoming the award as she hopes for a longer partnership that will see the implementation of recommendations from the TRRC. Ms. Wakana received the UN award as both an honor and in recognition of the great work done by the TRRC in the Gambia.
The TRRC in the Gambia has been an example for different countries. It's cited in all the meetings when we talk about reconciliation, when we talk about reparation, when we talk about never again. So for us, I believe the partnership that we built with the TRRC will also serve as an example for other work we are still doing. And as the UN resident coordinator, I want to commit myself and the entire UN in the Gambia that we are supporting the TRRC. We are waiting for the report. And we will be happy to support and continue. We are really eager to see the implementation of the recommendations from the report we are going to submit.
On May 28th, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission concluded public session after 871 days of hearing that involved testimonies from 992 witnesses with harrowing and sometimes inspirational tales of dictatorship. The TRRC confirmed that at least 250 people were sent to their graves on the orders of former President Yahya Jammeh, who ruled Gambia from July 1994 to January 2017. He was forced into exile to Equatorial Guinea after his defeat in 2016 presidential election that brought in Adama Barrow as coalition leader. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
That report by Fatmata Kasim on the TRRC awarding certificates to its major partners for supporting their work will take us to a quick break, and we'll be right back with the rest of the news on Gambia 24. Stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand the work we put in to constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back, and you're still watching Gambia 24 News. The Majority Leader of the National Assembly looked into the pending matters to be adequately responded to by various ministers. Keba Kebaro spoke of the presence of hippopotamus in the village of Nyani and Janjambre, which in recent years has threatened lives of famous and their plantation. Khadija Seka reports.
Despite their threats to lives of the farmers, hippopotamus are the third largest terrestrial mammals in the ecosystem. Over the years, the lawmakers have raised concern over the safety of farmers and their crops from the jaws of these big creatures from rural communities in the Central River region. But it appears to the Majority Leader of the House, Keba Kebaro, that the hippo stories are only told when there is already a disaster.
But one other thing is the hippos. Nyani and Janjambure are always talking about these hippopotamus, and the Ministry of Environment is saying that these are endangered species and they need to be protected. But what are they doing to ensure that the farmers also are not, their farms are not destroyed and seedlings are done at the end of the harvest, they go home with nothing? I think those are key issues that the minister needs to look into.
Time to time, these wild animals would choose to walk out their survival of the river, creating panic among the population. Residents in Janjambre and her surrounding rely on Gambia Army to suppress tension whenever the hippo is out and about on their fields. Honorable Barrow shifted some attention on the implementation of policies needed to develop national languages through the formal education system.
Another area that was also looked at, the issue of non-formal education. I think this is very important, and we are running into the fourth year now. Our experts in the National Assembly are still talking about this. So I think it is high time that the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and Higher Education come up with a linguistic policy that will help us to be able to learn about our national languages. Because children learn these things at the early age. If they are not able to do these things properly, it is going to be very difficult for them to catch up. Because in some of the rural areas, we still do not have early childhood education programs. But we have very good policies on national languages that will help these things. And I think that needs to be revived, and AMFIL has to come on board, and they need to expand that area.
The National Assembly member for Combo South enjoined ministers to adopt the state media as medium of communication on all executive activities to keep the people informed.
The GSM operators and the cheating that they are doing here, but the coordination between the ministries also. Information is not flowing between the land ministries, so they don't know what X and Y is doing. And I think the ministry need to coordinate that and be able to put everything together so that we use the national broadcaster GRTS in all activities that we are doing, so that the population is informed, and that will enable us to know the programs and activities at the level of both ministries, departments and agencies in this country.
During the session, ministers took the floor to answer to questions by parliamentarians on different national development matters. Among the bills debated for enactment are the ones on access to information and the much-awaited Persons with Disability Bill. Khadija Seka, iAfrica News.
Now, officials from the World Bank have renewed their commitment to supporting the developmental agenda of the Barrow-led government, especially in recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking after the official meeting with the Gambian leader at State House on Tuesday, the World Bank country director says the purpose of their visit is to congratulate the Barrow administration for the great economic management powers shown during the pandemic period, among others. We have more in this report.
The advent of the global pandemic has ravaged economies around the world, and the Gambia is not an exception. But groups like the World Bank have since rolled out a series of projects to strengthen the COVID-19 response in the Gambia. The World Bank country director, Nathan Belete, said they informed the president of the plans they have for the Gambia, and he was appreciative of them.
We were also able to inform the President of our future plans for collaboration in the Gambia, including our new country partnership framework, which we hope to submit to our board for approval in September. And in this partnership framework, we're hoping to expand and increase substantially the financial collaboration partnership we have with the Gambia.
The World Bank officials discussed a range of issues which were of importance to the President. One of them is the agriculture and food security and the important role this sector can play, not just increasing agricultural production for the country, but also from the perspective of household livelihood and its contribution to the overall economy.
In that discussion, he also highlighted the important role that the public sector has, but also the role that the private sector has to really take agriculture and the modernization of agriculture to a new level, which from our perspective we are fully aligned with. In addition to that, we discussed also the substantial engagement we've had in the health sector in terms of medical supplies, vaccine supplies, and this is again of great concern and interest to the President.
Part of their discussions also include the need for efficient and quick support for poor and vulnerable communities in the Gambia. The top diplomat said the World Bank is happy to partner with the government to provide the financial support to the national system. For iAfrica News, Binta Jallo.
That official visit by the World Bank officials to the Gambian leader on renewing their commitment in supporting the developmental agenda of the government brings us to the end of Gambia 24 News. I am your presenter, Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching and do have a good night.